Any other use of this telecast, or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without Cactus Media X or Arizona Cactus Football League's consent is prohibited.
Welcome back to another episode of the Commish's Picks. My name is Matt, the Commish Archer, along with my co-host, James Franchise Bush. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, yeah. Ready to be back. Week 8. We're here. Ready to go.
Yes, sir. We definitely are ready to go.
It's been a fun week. Had some entertaining stuff on the players' social media, which we'll get into. But before we jump into the fun, exciting stuff, how was your week?
Good, man. Busy. Work busy. Busy with the league. Got a lot of, accomplished throughout the week. So we'll look forward to that for this weekend.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Good, man. Finally got my POs. So I'll be heading out of town probably May 3rd. So I'll probably miss that last week of official games. Okay. Which is sad for me because I'll have to watch the Spartans lose on live stream. I think they have the last game of the week. So I think you'll have a special ghost.
Ghost. We definitely won't have a ghost in here.
Let me have a drink to my crown.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I was going to say shout out to the crown. And for those of y'all that don't think, man, if you want to, they might not think we're serious. But, we're definitely.
We're going to enjoy our Friday night. We're going to try to
definitely having a good night.
Make this show fun. Get a little into some fun stuff. We got a lot of games to cover.
Matt's going to be on one tonight, just so y'all are well aware.
I think I have a shocker prediction for you, at least in one of these matchups that I have.
All right, look forward to it.
Might cause you to drink a little bit more.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I got a full cup, so we'll be fine.
So I didn't get a chance to really get into any highlight film, so I asked you to give me some plays. So
yeah.
I think the first one, we're going to get right into it, guys. Those of you that are just joining, Week 8 predictions coming up. Be here about an hour and a half, maybe. Try to keep it within an hour and a half. So some of these games we may skip over, not get too into the weeds on some of this stuff. Some we may. So keep the comments coming. Keep it rolling. We appreciate all the feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. But don't get mad if it gets petty. So anyways, let's jump right into it. Let's just jump right into it. So I think the first one you sent me was the talks. Dang.
Like I said, guys, Matt's been sipping just a little bit.
Holy smokes!
So I may take a lead on some of this stuff.
Yeah,
and then he'll just talk.
Hopefully, I don't screw the production part up. But anyways, we'll get right into the play here. So
this game was 0-0 when this took place. So definitely was an ugly game from both teams. But this was a a nice play. Besides
the jerky film, which we'll get that fixed. We'll talk about Huddle here in a little bit. That was, to me, was a pretty executed play, pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, not a good, wasn't great, wasn't great tackling, I guess you would say, but they did what they needed to do. He made a good play. That was the game-winning play, so.
What was the score ended up being in that game? 7-0?
That game ended up being, I believe, 7-0. Yes, sir.
Okay. Shout out to the Hawks for winning that game.
Yep. Almost lost it, but.
And we'll get into standings here in just a second, but I think that every win counts. So regardless of who you're playing, congrats to the Hawks for that win. I think the next one you got coming up is the Bucks Outlaws. I watched this a few times just so I could talk some smack about my big man, Rico. A sidestep like a freaking pro. It's kind of hard to see in that particular angle, but y'all can go back and watch this in the game. But
yeah, this was at the beginning of the game, too.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about the Outlaws also, but,
kind of set the tone. This kind of set the tone because this was something that I know, we'll talk about the Outlaws in their game, but they got worked in the beginning of this game. They settled down, but definitely a nice play by Rico.
Yeah.
And
He still got his step early in the game.
Yeah. He luckily it happened early in the game. He ended up playing DN and played a hell of a game playing DN.
I was just gonna say I heard he had an awesome game playing his natural position,
yes.
D-line.
Yeah, played. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it was 8-0. I apologize, not 7-0. I forgot they didn't kick the ball. I'm sorry for that one, but
not everybody's got a kicker,
Yeah. But yeah, this is a great play. I mean, like I said, it kind of set the tone, and yeah, good play.
I think the just to touch base on that, I think the Outlaws came in a little, thought they were just going to roll through the Bucks, and the Bucks just had fun.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree.
So whoever made that decision in their camp to just have a fun game, shout out to them. Hopefully they show up again this weekend
I agree.
when they play the Lions, because I don't think it's going to be as easy. So
I agree.
And speaking of the Lions, this is the last play you sent me. This is my Miss the Football play. So those of you guys that were watching the live stream on this particular play, when he threw the ball, a bug went in front of the camera, so I thought the ball got overthrown into that out of bounds. So if you watched the live stream, I had to recorrect it. So
Good play.
But anyways.
Ends up taking it all the way. Receiver ends up making a pretty good block right here.
Yeah, Martin, too, almost caught him.
Yeah.
Smart on the guy with the ball to slow down.
Yep.
So
yeah, that was definitely a solid play. I mean, like I said, this one almost changed the course of that game, because this was, you figure at that point,
I think they were down 2 possessions.
they were down 2 possessions, and you figure the game's pretty much over.
Oh yeah, me and the huddle person were arguing about it, and I said, I'm not counting the Lions out just yet. There's still time on the clock. You know, they still got some plays in there, so I'm sure they'll figure something out. And I think 2 plays later they scored.
Yeah.
And then I was like, uh-oh.
Definitely was a solid play, though. Like I said, good blocking out there. Bad tackling on
on the Rebels.
On the Rebels there with that play. I mean, like I said,
bad angle right there by who's that? T-Mac. And then he gives up on the play too. I'd be sitting his ass freaking next week.
Yeah. So good play by good play by the receiver.
Yeah.
Definitely, Dre made a hell of a play there. So
awesome.
Yeah, great play.
Well, cool. Let's get into some standings. I haven't written this playoffs, but it's actually the standings here. Give everybody just a quick breakdown, and we'll glance at it all, and we can go into it. Just spend a few minutes on it just so we can walk through it. Obviously, the Rebels are still sitting at 7-0, but according to their media person, they're now 8-0, which is surprising because we haven't played any games yet. So, not sure where that came from. I think the board might meet and make them 7-0-1. But we'll get into that in a second. But anything on here surprising you?
I mean, it's kind of like we talked about. You think about the either conference. I mean, obviously, everybody can say what they want to say about the competition from each conference to another based upon teams. But for the most part, every team is eligible still technically for the playoffs in the Saguaro Conference. Including the Bucks, and I think I think that standing might potentially be wrong. I know it's wrong.
Does it say 2 and 6?
2 and 6. They should only be 2 and 5.
Oh wow.
But needless to say, they're still in there. The Roll Tide have a game this week that they should move to 4 and 4 this week. Obviously, we'll talk through that, but Spartans have a big game against the number 2 seed, the Phantoms. So depending on how that game plays out. You figure all of these different teams in that Saguaro Conference, are fighting for position in terms of playoffs and making the playoffs. I've said it from the jump. I feel like a team's going to go 5-5, 6 and 4, and potentially not make the playoffs. And with the Saguaro Conference,
those conference records and then head-to-heads definitely come into play for sure.
Gonna get these last 3 weeks are going to be crazy to watch.
Yeah.
You jump over to the Cholla Conference. The Silverbacks, for the most part, they have a big game against the Headhunters this week. So that's one that, even if, like I say, the Silverbacks take a loss there, they go to 7-1. Headhunters go to 5-3. I mean, everything points that unless the Silverbacks just completely, crumble, they'll be the 1 seed heading into the wild card weekend.
Yeah.
But as you kind of move down there, you look at the Headhunters, the Reapers, coming off the a surprising win over, well, I won't say surprising, but coming off a win over the Reapers last week to move above them. Reapers coming off a loss.
Yep.
Those 2 teams jockeying. And then you've got a huge game this week with the Hawks and the Owls battle for the 4 seed.
Yep.
And technically could move into the 3 seed depending on, well, no, the Reapers have a tiebreaker over those. So you still have the Titans in the mix. The Demons still have a chance. Hate to say it, but the Scorpions and the Tigers, for the most part, are mathematically eliminated.
Yeah. So now, and we'll get into each one.
We'll
of those
kind of go
teams,
into that, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, man. We talk about wanting to have the we talk about wanting to have that competition, and regardless of who plays who, you know, in the way the standings are setting up, we're coming down to it's going to be interesting to see, especially in that Choya Conference where only 4 teams get a chance to go over.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to these last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup each week to week to week. And then, you know, once we get into week 10 and we see it, you know, it's going to come down to that last game of the week, I think is going to be really where we have to figure out, you know, who's going where.
I agree. So it'll be interesting.
Oh, cool. Well, sweet. I know there's probably a lot of comments about the standings and blah, blah, blah.
No, nobody actually has even mentioned the standings yet. Nobody's really commented today, which is surprising.
Well, they're about to, so let's get right into it. Let's just get right into it. So my first team for a win this weekend, actually not even a win, a tie. The Rebels are going to get a tie this week because they can't technically be forfeit to themselves. So we're going to make them 7-0-1.
Sheesh.
Right?
I mean, they're still undefeated, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, technically they are, but do we give them a win against themselves?
I mean, an inter squad scrimmage. I mean, what is it? Red over black or black over red? Or
I don't know. I have to listen.
I'll let you be the petty. I'm usually the petty one. You know, to me, the Rebels will go to 8-0.
Well, I mean,
I know. You're just being petty. You're drinking out of your little Cardinals mug.
I'm not even being petty. I'm being real.
All right. I mean, you're not wrong. All right. So 7-0-1, 8-0.
But
I'm
speaking
still
of
going
them,
petty, but
I'm starting to see a lot of changes on the offense throughout the game. I'm starting to see them pulling a quarterback, putting in a different quarterback, running the wildcat, doing a bunch of various things on that, you know, running the ball a lot, which I think is very interesting.
Well, you figure, I mean, you know, Renz likes to air the ball out, you know, and I think that it might be, you know, a little bit different for him to hand it off as much. But I think that'll help him, though, I think in the long run. You know, the arm maybe won't be hurting or anything like that. I think that potentially it helps, and it kind of keeps them, you're not one-dimensional. If you're looking at...
Well, I was just going to say, you got to be a Swiss Army knife in this league. You got to be able to do everything, you know.
I agree. Well, like I said, I mean, they're going to be 8-0. You know, we'll see. I definitely think that it's, you know, interesting to see, you know, they run the shotgun offense, you know, and then, you know, outside of that, they don't really run any under center, which is fine. I mean, not a big deal, but, you know, we'll see what happens there. I mean, they said you can't spell. They said never mind, I'm not, do I want to be petty? They said that it's supposed to be Commish, Commish, not Comiss.
Hey, you know what? When you have your own show, you can spell whatever the fuck you want.
Spell it. They said you thought you had a wave cap on, not a hat. Billy, it does low-key look like a wave cap, though, right? He got the fresh lineup, though. You see his lineup?
Come on now. We're here to talk about football.
All right, I'm sorry. All right, carry on. It is a fresh lineup,
You're making
though,
me blush. Face off. That's what happens when I drink whiskey, bro.
Yeah, all right, we'll get back to the game. I'm sorry.
Oh, so how many shows have we had? This is what, our 6th show, and they're just now telling us that they think it's spelled wrong?
No, that's just being petty. That's just Jacob Reed being petty. They said you're being petty. They're going to be petty back.
Okay.
They still think you have a do-rag on, though.
I don't do this.
No, it's a hat. It's a hat, fellas. It's the new one, though. It's a new, it's the dew cap.
The dew cap.
All right, I'm sorry. All right, back to the show. I just wanted to. Sorry, they caught me off guard with that comment. I was like, sheesh. But yeah.
Hey, but you know what? I am sporting my Phantom shirt today. We'll talk about that in Game of the Week. But
speaking of that, on a different note, real quick, I know. I don't know if you're a fan of it, but I know I was up this morning watching it. Did you watch the new Mortal Kombat movie?
Nah.
Didn't watch it. Not a Mortal Kombat fan.
I was when I was 12.
Okay, listen, I understand the new movie took 26 years to make, and I hope the next one doesn't take. But
all the reviews said it tanked, and that's the end of the franchise, and that shit will disappear after this weekend.
I hope not. I don't know. It was good. For anybody that hasn't seen it, shout out to Mortal Kombat. They did a good one. Sorry.
What's that, HBO Max?
HBO Max, yes.
I might have to watch it tomorrow.
If anybody needs an HBO Max, I'll be the plug for $7.59.
Because I'd rather watch that than watch the freaking Spartan Phantom game. Anyways,
touche.
Moving on. All right, so game first matchup. Enough time with the.
Sorry,
you know.
They did say your lineup is fresh though. They're not clowning on that
today. That's why I have a hat on because I didn't shave my head. So
they're not clowning on that. They said it looks fresh.
I got that cul-de-sac shit going on right now.
The Georgie?
The Georgie, bro. Thanks to my old man.
Okay. All right. Touche.
So, but first matchup, we got the Titans and the Reapers. Titans are sitting in 6th place currently, coming off a bye. So now they're 3-4, and they're 1-3 in the conference. Going up against the Reapers, who are in 3rd seed, taking the loss from the Headhunters last week, which I got to watch that game. It was a really fun game to watch. Those two guys battle it out. Putting them at 4-3 in a conference of 4-2.
Yeah.
So I think the Reapers are coming off a humbling loss to the Headhunters. I think they thought – remember I talked about it last week. I said if they can't manage to get through this game and come over that adversity, next week when they play the Rebels, after the shit I'm about to talk tonight, Ed and that team's going to come marching down the field. So even though the Reapers took a loss, I was impressed in that the way they handled themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a little bit of bickering at the end, but not in a sense our usual Reapers, you know, way they do things.
Okay.
So, yeah, go ahead.
No, it's it was kind of interesting to see. I mean, like I said, we've talked about the Headhunters, you know, coming in. You know, I don't know if I'll say the Reapers. That's the tough part. I think we were talking about it one of the weeks, and you know, it was like they're blowing teams out, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're beating the teams they're supposed to beat. You know, even though they were 4-2 at that point, you know, they're beating the teams they're supposed to, and they're beating them how they're supposed to beat them. The problem sometimes with that, though, is like you said, you can come in, you know, a little bit, I guess in essence, cocky. You know, you just blew a team out, or a couple of weeks in a row you've blown a team out, and you know, then you get into a dogfight. You know, the Headhunters are a scrappy team.
Yep,
they are a team that, you know, is going to, you know, show up. They're going to play. They might be short in numbers, but they're going to show up and, you know, do what they need to do. They may not come out with the win all the time, right? But, you know, they come out and play. So with that being said, yeah, it kind of surprised me to see. I didn't think it was going to be a blowout either way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I will say I was a little bit surprised to see. I believe the Reapers were up from what the updates that I was getting. They were up most of the game. And, you know, they, you know, play a team that isn't going to lay down like some of these other teams are. And obviously we see what happened with that. They came out with a loss. On the flip side of that this week, though, they're playing a team that technically was 2-4 going into a bye, so they get the free win. So 3-4 there. But in their conference, they haven't done well in the Titans. 1-3 in their conference.
Yeah. Well, 2 of their wins are the byes. So they've only won 1 game.
Oh.
That's
really?
Yeah. They're the only team in the entire league that was going to play the Sergeants twice.
Didn't know that. Okay.
So my thought is the best they finish this year is 3-7.
So they don't.
I don't
get
think
any
they
more
win
wins.
another game.
They don't win another game. Okay, so that kind of goes out. I know where you're going with obviously your pick on that, but I'm interested to see how they come out off a bye week. You know, obviously injuries or anything like that. They've got a chance to hopefully heal up now. I don't know, man. I mean,
I'm going with the Reapers just because they have the numbers, they have the talent pool. You know, the Titans are a little low on staff. They don't have a quarterback. Apparently he got hurt or something. I don't know. So I'm going with the Reapers. I'm going to say it's going to be 35-6.
35-6 Reapers?
Yep.
Okay. So I don't disagree. I think the Reapers win this game. I don't think it's going to be – I don't know. I feel like this is another one where, you know, I feel like it's another one where they come in and they take care of business. I don't think it's going to be 35-6 bad, but I do think that it's going to – the Titans, you know, they've gotten maxed out, you know, throughout the year.
Mm-hmm. But they ain't quit like the blue and gold team. So.
Yeah, that punk-ass team.
I don't think they'll ever quit.
No, they're going to – I mean,
unless they just literally don't have 11 guys active on the field, but I don't see them throwing in the white towel at halftime.
So I'm going to go with this week. I'm going with the Reapers. Going to take the Reapers. We're going to say – we'll say 30-12 Reapers.
Okay. All right.
30-12 Reapers. I think that they get up. I think that they get up and they try to get some of those second string guys in that maybe haven't gotten it, maybe didn't play as much, throughout some of those games or could have played more. But I think the Titans end up scoring a couple touchdowns. I don't think the game's close. I think that those maybe come when the second string guys come in, that they end up getting those scores potentially. But we'll see what's in store there and kind of go from there.
Okay. All right. Titans for the win for both of us. On to the next matchup.
No.
No?
No, not the Titans for the win.
Reapers.
Excuse me, the Reapers.
I was looking at the Tigers
for the win. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Carry on.
Shit. Oh. Damn. That bro, no more no more bottles before we get in here.
I mean, I started drinking at 2:30 this afternoon, so you got to catch up.
I ate a freaking 6-inch minute sandwich, so might not work too much. But anyways, next game. The Thunder versus the Outlaws. So the Thunder sitting in 4th place currently, coming off the win against the Spartans. Congratulations, guys. Yep. Great job. Puts them at 5-2, puts the conference 3-1 versus the number 5 seed, the Outlaws, coming off that humbling, embarrassing, whatever you want to call it, loss to the Bucks.
I would say more humbling than embarrassing.
Humbling. Yeah.
Only because at the end of the day, the Bucks aren't slouches.
Oh, absolutely not.
The record might say that, if you were to look at the record, you see a team at 1-5, all right. But obviously we know that's not the case. We know there's a lot more to it.
So the Outlaws are sitting at 4-3 with a conference record of 3-2. That's the wrong note there. My bad. Bro, you said this thing was right.
I mean, I'm not sure what you were.
Oh my God. Anyways, I think the we'll just skip to the next bullet line. I think the Thunder they were running everything they could last week. I think they had some internal stuff going on the sidelines a little bit during the game when I was catching the back end of it. We'll get into the Spartans debacle at the end of the show, but I think the Outlaws they got a little lazy. I think they underestimated the Bucks and
they got punched in the mouth. That's what happened.
I don't see that happening this week.
They got punched in the mouth. They came out. They were there early. They did their team photo. They were there warming up. And doing their normal stuff. The normal Outlaw stuff. Showed up like a team, doing what they need to do. The Bucks came out and almost were kind of in the same boat as what the Scorpions were at 2 weeks ago, where they almost, I didn't know if I was on the sidelines talking to some of the guys, and I'm like, y'all know you need 18 to play. Like, I know you guys are fine with playing with 15, 16 guys. You need 18 to start the game.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting, about 15, 20 minutes before game time, they ended up getting the 18. They were there. But it was like, they were there, they were warming up, but obviously you can't start the game without, enough players.
Yeah.
And I think that the Outlaws might have taken them, I don't want to say taken them lightly, but to come out the way they did, and we showed that highlight at the beginning of the game, the Outlaws just looked out of sorts at the beginning of the game and got punched in the mouth. And I don't think that they ever they settled down, but I don't think that they ever fully recovered.
Yeah.
From that. Like,
I don't think that happens this week.
No?
No.
Okay.
I think John's and Coach Russell and those guys are gonna, and some of the leaders on that team, they got practice right this week, I think. So I'm going with the Outlaws.
Taking the Outlaws in this game. Okay, what are you going with the score on this?
It'll be tight though. I think I'm gonna go 18-12.
18-12 Outlaws. Okay. So I've been giving the Thunder I don't want to say so much a hard time, but I've been giving the Thunder a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of grief, but I just haven't really believed in the Thunder, I guess, fully. They travel very well, unlike the Demons, right? The other team from Tucson.
Yep.
But I haven't really, I kind of always am picking against them. I think that the wing tee is still, not too many teams have been able to, in essence, fully stop the wing tee.
Yep.
And they even scored, against the Spartans last week, they even scored on a big pass play too. So, they're scoring, most of the time it's scoring through, the wing tee with the offense running the ball, but they've scored a few times on the, the pass there, as well. So that's something, they got a really good receiver that he's made those plays for him. I'm still not convinced with the Outlaws offense though. I think that there's, I don't want to say turmoil in there, but I don't think that they fully have found an identity.
Yeah.
There's a lot of missed, through the passing game, there's a lot of missed opportunities that they're missing.
Mm-hmm.
Number 84 has come back, so I believe Mike Spellbar is his name. He's been in the league for a long time, but he gets a lot of targets. Makes a lot of plays, but gets a ton of targets. He's a big part of their offense. Number 7's been getting a lot of targets, and he's been making plays. They have a younger core of receivers with some of those guys, but they just, I don't think that they truly have fully found that identity fully yet on what exactly that offense is fully going to do. I'm taking the Thunder in this game. The Thunder are quietly a very quiet 5-2. I don't think if you looked at it, I think they were the team a couple weeks ago. We had them out of the playoffs.
Yep.
And they are right there in the playoff hunt. Now, with that being said, though,
I love it.
They lose this game, they go to 5-3. The Outlaws own a tiebreaker over them, whereas they would move above them obviously in the standings. Yep. So I think that this is a huge game. Yeah. But I'm taking the Thunder in this one because that defense shows up to play every week. The Outlaws defense shows up to play. Well, 0, the DBs show up and play.
Yeah.
They just overall, Freddie out there popping people, like Freddie coming downhill and laying the wood. They just overall, I think their biggest piece will be not to get down on each other because when things start to not go their way or certain things are going on, they start to bicker a little bit at each other. And I think that can cause a problem. And I apologize, I don't know the guy's name, but I know he plays D tackle. The D tackle that the Thunder have as well is in there causing havoc. 94, I believe. Okay. Makes a lot of plays as well. But taking the Thunder, I picked against them. They made me look dumb multiple weeks in a row, so I'm taking them this week. I think that they go to 6-2. I think the Outlaws fall to 4-4. I think it's going to be a close game as well, but I think it's going to be more of a 14-10 type of game. 14-10 Thunder.
Okay. Good matchup. All right. I got the Outlaws. You got the Thunder.
Yes, sir.
Take a quick break to talk about our sponsor, Aunt Shell's Retro Bakery. Those of you guys that haven't had a chance to be at Cortez the last 2 weekends, please show up tomorrow. She's making some killer desserts. I think she had peanut butter cookies or something last week. I got to finally eat the carrot cake. Shout out to my huddle gal who brought a whole platter up to the box. She had one of everything, and just want to give her some recognition. She should be out there this week. Games 4 and 7 o'clock with another table full of stuff.
What time is she going to be out there?
Right at the beginning of the 4. I think they showed up like 3:30 last week.
Okay, dang. All right.
Yeah. She's from my understanding, she's she's trying to get into commercial baking. So I may be wrong, but I think the cottage laws only allows you to make so much in your house to sell it commercially, like we're doing. So she's pretty much, she can't make enough of it to last 4 games.
Gotcha, makes sense.
So if you get there, try to get there at 4, because I promise you by 7, there's probably not going to be any left.
So if anybody would like to DoorDash me or something, that the Aunt Shell,
George Bell, I know you're listening. That's his aunt.
Yes,
sweet lady.
I would definitely like to get some delivered to Sunny Slope, if at all possible, because I have yet to be able to try this.
But yeah, so far everything she's made, I've been impressed with.
Okay, well,
so appreciate that.
I really mean that though. Please send some to Sunny Slope as well if anybody can. I will pay you. It's right down the street.
I'll just have my boy Raph stop by.
That works, Raph. I appreciate you in advance. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about game times, but.
Oh yes, we will.
You'll be at your field already.
Yeah, I sure will.
All right, moving on. Roll Tide Tigers game. Tigers Roll Tide. Wow. So Tigers are sitting in currently dead last in their conference, coming off the loss to the Hawks, putting them at 1-6. Conference 1-5. So I think their only win is that official win against the Scorpions in the very first week, which was a good win, by the way. I was impressed. 21-0, I think. Playing the number 7 seed. It's a crossover game for the Roll Tide, coming off a loss. And the Phantoms, they're sitting at 3-4. Conference 2-4. So, the Tigers, Well, they're the Tigers.
The Tigers are who we thought they were, right?
Yeah, in all different levels, but you know, I don't want to center bash team, but something's still not clicking over there, and I'm just not sure what it is. I don't have any idea, and without deep diving and getting totally submerged in that team, I couldn't tell you how to fix anything that's on there. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks they can get some stuff turned around and finish the season. I do think they'll finish the season, though. I don't have any doubts that they're not going to show up and play football. But for right now, I think they're just playing to finish the season. I don't think there's any playoff hopes for that team. And the Roll Tide, they're doing okay. They just need to finish. I think that's probably the biggest thing I see is, like, they're hanging in there for a little bit, and then just something happens, and they just fall apart.
They need to finish, and they need to stop going for it on 4th down on their own side of the field. They need to stop turning the ball over.
All right, Coach Bush, let us have it.
No, it's just, I mean, it's simple stuff. Like you said, they're in the game. They're always in the game. With the exception of the Rebel game that they just got dog-walked. I mean, that was just they got their ass whooped. It's simple. We'll just say that.
Yep.
They've been in every game.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes down to, it comes down to turnovers. It comes down to, whether it be fumbles, whether it be interceptions, or just going for it on crazy side. Like I said, like going for it on like 4th and 12 when you have a punter or a kicker. Yep. And it's like on your own 30-yard line, like your defense. Yeah, they have a great defense as well, but kind of like we always talk about, I keep saying it. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. It's if your defense is on the field more than your offense, it's not a good thing.
Yep.
Well, it could be. It could go one of two ways. Either your defense.
It's good if you're winning games.
Yeah. So it's good if your defense is on the field more than your offense because your offense is scoring.
Yep.
And you're winning games and you're winning those games by a lot, then okay, that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if your defense is on the field more because of turnovers and things like that, or just not smart play calls, it's not a good thing. So,
and I see, I'm right there with you. I think the Roll Tide needed to stop making mistakes. Right? They're the reason they're not winning.
I agree.
It's not the other team.
I agree for the most part. Yeah.
I hope Coach Austin and Coach Warford can get it figured out. I know the owner Bo's having some frustration with some people. Little Birdie told me he's. Some guys might not find themselves on the team after this week.
So the Birdie flew over here for the Roll Tide game. Okay.
Oh, he flew over in a lot. Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
We got a few more.
Well, I think with that being said, though, I mean, I think that this one, I think the Roll Tide handle this game. We kind of talked about a team like the Reapers earlier, putting up a ton of points. I think the Roll Tide come out and air the ball out. And I'm going with a 50-6 on the Tiger, 50-6 Roll Tide.
Wow.
I think that they definitely want, they want to prove a point, and show that offense. I mean, last week I believe I want to say they had 4 turnovers. I want to say it was 4 interceptions and I think a fumble. I could be wrong. It might have been 3 interceptions and a fumble, but I know they at least turned the ball over 4 times last week.
Wow.
I don't think that they do that this week. I think that they come out and.
You said 50 to what?
50-6.
Okay.
I think that I was going to say 50-0, but I think that the Tigers actually made a change last week in the Hawks game. Kind of surprised that the kid hasn't been playing. They made a change to a different quarterback in that game. That kid was running all over the place. I apologize. I don't know the name, but he was running all over the place. Got to secure the ball though, but he was running all over the place. So I think that he potentially, they make a big play somewhere, and
I think they make 2 big plays.
Okay.
I got the Tigers 12-6 on this game.
Excuse me?
Yep, 12-6 Tigers. I think.
All right. Please explain.
I think the Roll Tide just stay with their usual selves. I think they shoot themselves in the foot. They get a touchdowns called back for dumb blocks. Jake just running for his life, throwing up balls. Defense woofing on tackles, and I think that somehow the Tigers are going to put 2 touchdowns up and
somehow. So what is the somehow? Help me understand what the somehow is.
They don't have a horrible team.
I didn't say that they did have a horrible team.
They have some playmakers on that team.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to their 1-6.
You just said it on the other team that was hawking up a shitty
No,
score.
hold on now. Listen, hold on. We are not. So I know
What
you're
was
not
the team
comparing.
you were just saying
I
that
know
on?
you're
What
not.
team were you just saying that was the record does? Oh, the Bucks.
So wait a minute.
Okay,
now.
so
Hold
the
on,
Bucks
stop.
are one. The
Stop
Bucks
it.
are 1-6.
Stop
and
it.
You're telling me that they.
So hold on. So you're telling me. Okay, I just want to make sure that I understand this correctly. Okay, hold on. Let me. Okay, I just need to understand. So you're telling me, and I just want to hear it from your mouth.
I'm telling you.
Let me finish.
A blind dog gets a bone every once in a while.
Okay, I don't think that's the scenario. I think it's more of a blind squirrel finds a nut. I think
Same
it's normally the thing.
concept.
Okay, so you're telling me. So
Tigers
we'll just say
touchdowns.
Well, that's fine. We'll just say hypothetically. Hypothetically speaking, if the Bucks play the Tigers, you're telling me.
No, the Bucks blow the shit out of the Tigers. That's two different conference, two different level skill set. I'm telling you. Let me put it this way: the Roll Tide are not playing the way they should have been playing for the last 8 weeks or 7 weeks, and I think the Tigers are going to catch them slipping today or tomorrow.
Okay. All right, me and you'll chat offline about that. I feel like we
I got
might
it
have
upset
to have
every week. I got one upset.
I feel like we might have to have a
prediction,
discussion and
that's my upset.
possibly
I think the Tigers,
that's a major upset, sir.
Yeah.
All
I didn't say it was a win by a lot. I just said a win's a win.
So Roll Tide. I'm actually going to go ahead because I feel like you just pissed them off now, changing my score.
Oh, I know.
Okay. I'm going with 66-0 Roll Tide. Let me change that real quick. 66-0 Roll Tide. I feel like they are going to now try to run the score up even worse.
You just guaranteed them a loss.
Yeah, all right.
Because now they're going to try to make it that way, and they're going to
if they win 45-0, it's the same thing. Okay, I'm not giving you points.
If they
or
win
anything.
7-6, it's the same thing. A win's a win.
Okay, all right, you're not wrong. Jesus Christ! What?
Told you better bring the drinks.
I hear you. All right. So, fellas, I apologize in advance for
No,
I got Matt hyped. No, I don't actually, but all right, we'll go with that. Okay, 66-0, 12-6 Tigers.
Now I know. I'm making a big deal out because I know Coach Austin's watching this YouTube live on his 75-inch TV in his living room right now.
Yeah, I think he.
If it still works, he might have thrown the remote at it.
Yeah, like wait a minute, bro. What?
Yep. That's a challenge to them, man. We I think we bet on them last week and they lost, right? Didn't we?
Shane, I'm not sure what team you play on, Shane. So I apologize.
He's on the Rebels.
Shane, no, not Shane Johnson. Shane Hype. So I'm not sure who that is. He said dinner on me if the commish is correct. Wild prediction.
So we had the Roll Tide losing. Well, I think we both had the Phantoms last week in that game. We've bet against them every week, I think, against the Roll Tide. Looking at
looking at who they're playing potentially, but I'm not, like I said, man. I'm
looking who they're playing against.
All right, we'll go with that.
All right, move on to the next game.
All right, next game. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness.
Hey, Hey, until they win, sorry.
All right, hey, touche. I mean, I feel like I said, let's put it this way. We'll just kind of talk about playoffs real quick. If they somehow happen to lose this game, their playoff hopes are pretty much done.
Pretty much done.
So I think that's another reason that I think they get the job done. But
hey, whatever you got to do to win, whatever you got to tell yourself at the end of the day, it's all good. I want every team to win, but I have to choose one.
I get it. All right, moving on to the next game. Demons, Scorpions.
All right. I'll let you go since I got you all flabbergasted over.
I literally don't know. I don't know what to say. Like I'm baffled.
I told you I was gonna have a surprise pick this week.
Well,
and you just kind of blew me off.
I figured that I was never expecting you to take that pick.
Tell you what, I'm even gonna wear my Tigers shirt.
They said you came out. Listen, they're saying
I'm wearing my Tiger shirt on
Saturday,
Saturday, bro, just in support.
All right, that's completely fine. Unless you're gonna go down there and play with them. Okay. All right, moving on. But they said that you're on one tonight. They said you're acting totally different. You have your dew cap on. They're waiting on you to bring out a cigar or something and drink some Henny.
Here, bro.
Like,
we already talked
hey,
about
Matt's on. I know you guys have seen the meme, the Shannon Sharp meme, right? Like he's like talking about like dog like.
No, well, the guy's watching.
Extended clip.
It's one of those two-way street things. I shouldn't say all of them. Majority of them like to throw shade and talk shit to me and about me, but then get pissed when I do it back.
I mean, you're not wrong.
So, hey, this is my opportunity to shine. I'm not in the red zone. I ain't got time for all that fuckery. So, anyways.
Moving on. All right. So, Demons coming in at the 7 seed right now. With a loss to the Owls last week, they're currently 2-5, 1-4 in the conference versus the Scorpions, who are number 8 in the conference right now, coming off a loss to the Silverbacks. They're 1-6, 1-4 in the conference.
Yep.
At this point, I mean, I feel like technically the Demons are technically still in the playoff hunt, depending on what happens with some of the other games. They're going to need some help, and they need to handle business.
Mm-hmm.
But, a win this week puts them at 3-5, and we kind of you kind of go and see what happens with some of those other games.
Yeah.
But I hate to say it, I don't think either one of these teams makes the playoffs. I believe the Scorpions are already eliminated.
Yeah, there's no way the Scorpions.
So the Scorpions are just now, in essence, potentially both teams are just playing to play at this point.
Well, the Demons, if they win out,
they have a chance.
5-5.
Got to put them 5-5. But like I said, they need a lot of help because they took some losses to the head-to-head and points against, there's a lot of stuff that they're going to need some help.
Yeah, I don't see them. The best they make is 5th place, I think.
The Demons?
Yeah, just based off who's currently 1 through 5.
What do you think they finish at? 4-6? 4-6, or you think they go 5-5?
I have to look at there, but I think I had them at 4-6.
Okay,
they got to travel well. I mean, at the
end of the day,
it's a reoccurring conversation every week. But when I get down to it, they at least show up with enough people to start the game. So. Right now the Scorpions are sitting in 8th place at the moment, but they'll finish dead last because once all the games are played, they're going to lose the head-to-head against the Tigers. So if the Tigers end up having the same record as them, then Scorpions take the...
Do you think the Scorpions win any more games this year?
No, their schedules. So
they don't win any more games. You figure you're taking the Tigers over the Roll Tide, so that would put them above them anyway in the seeding. So, I mean...
I think they might end up playing the Titans. But if the Titans keep showing up with the Titans I've been seeing, I think they're going to... Scorpions don't stand a chance.
Well, depending on how that plays out, I mean, what do we got? We got...
No, they play the Owls. Scorpions play the Hawks, and they play the Owls. Yeah, they don't win another game.
Okay.
They don't win.
And then you have the Tigers beating the Roll Tide this week, so that would mean they would move up.
So then they would be 8th place.
So they would end up being the 9 seed, like you mentioned, with the... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like the Demons were a team coming in that I kind of expected a little bit more. I think me and you kind of talked about that, but...
Oh, yeah, I had a lot of high hopes for them.
I don't think that I had them winning a championship this year.
No.
But, I really thought that they were a team kind of like where we're seeing the Headhunters this year.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like they would be in competition. They would show up, play well, and at least be in the running for the playoffs.
Yeah.
But obviously it hasn't played out that way. I guess I could kind of say the same thing about the Scorpions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I saw the Scorpions winning, or making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I also don't know if I saw the Scorpions being at 1-6 either.
I didn't. That was for sure. They had
I figured I'd put them at maybe 3-7, 4-6 range.
They had a lot of hype going into the season.
So I guess really, I mean, I think about I'm disappointed in both teams, really. And I hope that obviously moving forward they finish out their season, with both teams.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with this one I'm taking the Demons.
I got the Demons as well. I think the Demons are going to blow the Scorpions out.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm putting 30-0 on this one.
30-0, okay.
Yep.
I think it's going to be closer than that. I think it's actually going to be a sloppy game.
Oh, it's going to be messy on both sides. Sure.
I think the Demons still get the win.
That's
but
a 4:00 game too. So hopefully the Scorpions will have all their players by that time. They've always struggled with the early.
Yeah,
games.
in essence, I mean, you figure a 4:00 game. I would hate to see a 10:00 game for them.
Oh, we saw one last week for the Demons.
No, for the Scorpions.
We did. Remember, we were both on the field. Like, they better get. I heard Carl had to suit up this week just to make 18.
Oh, I mean,
I wasn't at the field, but that was what the report came in. So
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm taking the Demons over the Scorpions in this one.
Okay.
I'm saying 7-6. 7-6 Demons.
All right. Good luck, Demons. Enjoy your semi-night game. Cool. We're almost halfway through here.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to change gears a little bit, give a break for the predictions. Let's talk about something that happened this last weekend. I know there was some chatter going on the players forum, as I'll refer to it as. But I wanted to talk about the guests we had at the games last week. So I will fill in the upper management portion of it, and you can fill in hopefully the field stuff, like what they were doing at the actual field. So those of you guys that don't know, weren't aware, congratulations to those 135 players that got the prelim invite, is that what we'll call it? Basically an open invitation. Yeah, that's what it is. Open invitation to go play in Utah this summer for an expansion team called the Utah Senate. So they're currently partnered with Zenith and a couple other people. And to give everybody the 10,000 foot level, the owner of this team is a millionaire guy in the vitamin supplement industry for I don't know, probably 7 or 8 years now, I think the coach was telling us. And he has in talks with the XFL to bring a team into the XFL to represent Salt Lake City in the 2022 season. So this team that he's putting together is kind of a test run to see if they can pull it all together to show the XFL that they have the financial backing and the structure to put a team together. So what they're doing is they're going around and they're inviting, college kids and different people that are ready to move on to, say, the pro level, Arena or Japan or wherever, Canada. And so they want to use our league as one of their farm programs. So essentially they'd come in the springtime, watch, whatever, and then they'd start their camp in the summer, and then they would play in the fall when the XFL starts next year in 2022. That's the ultimate goal. Currently, because there is no other leagues available, they're having to play in the GDFL league, which is another semi-pro.
Yep.
The difference is this team is actually paying the players. I don't know the price. I think that's negotiable between the players that make it and the team. But I'm going to guess it's going to be somewhere around like an Arena for it right now. A couple $100 a game. They'll find you something to do during the week to work, whatever. Outside of that, that's kind of what I've got from the whole conversations and everything. I'll let you talk a little bit about what happened at the fields and kind of, if anybody's curious, I'm going to spend a few minutes of just what they did and how they came about that list, et cetera.
Yeah.
So
I know there's a lot of questions about why wasn't on that list, different things. I know we've been talking to
I'll
them.
answer that when you're done.
Yeah.
I'll give them the cold hard truth about
it.
Well,
I'll kind of just, it wasn't just based upon Saturday. So a lot of guys took it based upon Saturday.
Correct.
I'm so upset that you're stirring your drink with a...
Bro, I don't give a shit, man.
You're stirring your drink with a pair of scissors.
What else you want me to use? This freaking pen?
Not a pair of scissors.
You have a knife? You have a fork?
I'm sorry. Carry on. I'm sorry.
Can I use your straw?
Back to it. No. Let me get back to it. I'm sorry.
Hey.
Exactly. I think you have your own straw. But let me
whip it out and start.
Let me get back to it. Let me get back to it though. So they've been watching film.
Over a month now. I think
for about a month. They've had access to Huddle. They've been checking guys out in terms of different people that they've heard about, and different things like that.
Yep.
And obviously they watch film and kind of go from there. With that being said, obviously they've come out last week and checked out the different games throughout, and obviously they had a list of people that they've been watching, and kind of going from there. But in essence, they looking for offense, defense, different guys to check out, and they were talking to a bunch of the different guys throughout the different games on during the day and stuff like that. And, came up with that list. So I know there's guys that were upset that they didn't make that list.
Hey, welcome to the real world.
Yeah.
Just because you sign up and you put your money in the pot doesn't mean you get the guaranteed spot. And I think that's the difference, and that's the slap in the face some of these guys that I want to get across. They're structuring that for a full-blown, paid, professional team. And that kind of preludes into where the league's going. And I'm going to leave right there. But my point is, just because some of these players are good in their head doesn't mean they're good in other things. Like, that's just the reality of it. And that's my, y'all listen, the F up. Like, you can send them highlight films all day long. That's why we gave them access to our huddle, so they could watch the games for themselves without us having to muddy the waters or push a name and not somebody else. Like, I don't care. I want all of our players to go, but the fact is some of our guys just, they won't make it there. Or you have people, like Dwight on the Rebels. He could play in that league, but he has a career already. Like, he's not going to go he makes more money in his career. Same thing with Andrew Jones. They make more money than what that's worth. But if it's somebody like, say, Daniel or Richard Mitchell or someone that's still trying to pursue the football goal, it wouldn't hurt anybody to reach out to those guys. What's the worst thing you do? You don't go? I mean, I mean,
at the end of the day, it's kind of like I talked about. I made a comment on there because I saw some other comments, about people, I guess in essence bad-mouthing it or, saying they're looking out for, people or whatever the case might be. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's not an opportunity that, if you don't want to take it, and this is just being blunt, if you don't want to take a chance on that opportunity, that's fine. No one is going to sit here and tell you that by taking this chance and going up there, making this team, you're going to make the NFL. Okay? Like, that's, I don't want it to, but at the same time, if you don't want the opportunity, don't take it. That's completely fine. There are no hard feelings. I know I was sitting around, when the guy was out here and he was having some conversation with guys, like he told some people, like, hey, listen, it's no hard feelings. If you don't want to come out, this is a business. If you're not interested, or like you said, a lot of guys might not be able to, because I hate to say it, but it's tough. Like, you're talking to somebody on, what is it, the 24, so a week? Mm-hmm. Excuse me, a week ago. So you're looking at basically a 2-week notice to basically pick up and take a chance. And you figure a job. Most jobs aren't. I know for me, I couldn't just pick up and go 2 weeks. Like, I couldn't do it. So I get that piece. But for those that have the ability to potentially do it, it's something that we've been talking about for years, and, different leagues, like pushing guys to the next level. Like, obviously at the end of the day, we always talk about it. For some of these guys, it's just get up, come out, play on Saturdays. Your weekend warriors, right? For some of the guys, they're looking for film to be able to go other places, but everybody talks about, not everybody, but a good portion of people talk about wanting to get an opportunity. Here's an opportunity. This may not be the last opportunity either. I know in talking to, the coaches that came out, like they said, just because you go up there and potentially don't make this team, they're going to potentially, put you with another team potentially that you might be able to get in with. Like, there's different opportunities and different things. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to take it, no hard feelings, Or if, like I said, if you guys don't want us to do stuff like this and you just want to play on Saturdays out here, saves us a lot of time if you don't want those opportunities either, And I know a lot of guys do. But, in essence, we're just trying to help people get a chance to do something else. I'd have no problem with coming out every Saturday and just doing my normal stuff. I'm sure Matt would have no problem with just not taking phone calls, being on the phone for hours, Raph included, like trying to get different things to better and get more opportunities. But I don't want to beat a dead horse on that, for guys that potentially didn't get a didn't get an invite or anything like that.
It's not the end of the world. It's not the last and only person that's ever coming. Like, there's a lot of stuff like we keep talking about in the works, but because of COVID, it's restricted a lot of our plans. So some of those plans are pushed off to 2022. So those of you guys that were on the list, congratulations. Those of you that weren't, it doesn't take away from your ability, or your thought process, or your thought to want to go do that. I bet they're probably going to have another opportunity again. down the road. But yeah.
Well, one thing I know he even talked about, because he even talked about when we were chatting, obviously like Friday night and Saturday, and stuff like that. They're in essence, this is the start of it, but this is something that, I know at one point they were only looking at, I think Raph just mentioned it, but they were only looking at taking anywhere from like 60 to 70 guys. We pushed to get more, Raph pushed to get more and ended up getting it up to 135 that they ended up taking. But he's talked about it. This is successful. They want to come back down and continue to do this and continue to, even if it's not for their team.
And that's what I was going to finish on,
help
guys, is that they want us to be a farm league for them, just like the baseball has the minor A, minor double, triple, and then the majors. So I don't want to spend too much more time on it, but I hope that cleared the air for some people. Those of you guys that do decide to make the trip up there, I think that's going to have some huge playoff consequences.
Yeah, I think that's because, they want them up there for the first.
They want their next week. Like, you're literally team meetings, I think, next Sunday or Saturday.
Well, their first original day is the first. They're getting pads and
they're checking out all the equipment.
And
yep.
And the actual original trial, I believe, starts on the 3rd, if it's what I remember seeing. So,
but yeah, so just, and I think Richard hit it right on the head in his post on the platform, is that if you're not willing to take a risk on yourself, then why do you even care? Something along those lines. I got a screenshot of it, but you know what I mean? So, but anyways, moving on into our games. So let me tie that off with that. If you guys have any questions about the Utah Senate, send an email to Raph. He'll get you whatever he possibly has available to him, and we'll go from there. Whoops, we already did that, team. Oh boy. Got this thing's all mixed up.
Matt can't roll.
I have my glasses on, man. I can't see shit.
I don't think it's your glasses.
And there's 4 screens in front of me. So.
Yeah, I think it also could be the liquor,
yeah,
but that's fine.
Liquor, you wish. Let me put my glasses on.
All right, put them on.
All right, so the guys got to see. I feel like my dad up here.
Yeah, I feel like you definitely should have put them on before that last game, because you picking that last game.
No, I still got the Tigers.
No, I understand. Oh, you can still see you got the Tigers?
Still got the Tigers.
Okay.
All right, so
carry on.
Hawks versus the Owls. Number 4 seed Hawks, coming off the win against Tigers. Obviously, we just talked about them. Puts them at 3-4, conference 3-2. Versus the number 5 seed, the Owls, coming off the win against the Demons, and it puts them at 3-4. So these both teams are tied. I think the only reason that one is above the other is because of the conference play.
Yeah.
And before we get into predictions, guys, this game has been changed to 7 p.m. Sunny Slope, 7 p.m. We had a scheduling conflict earlier in the day, so we moved it from 1 to 7. So those of you watching, playing at 7 tonight.
Please do not message me early in the morning asking me why I'm not at the field for a 1 o'clock game.
Yep. We won't even be there. The league won't even be there till at least 2.
Like, please do not message me for that, because I will not respond back to you. I'm just being honest with you. Please check with your owner if you have questions about why it was moved. Anything more you want to know, please talk to your owner or coaches.
Yep.
The game is at 7 o'clock p.m. Moving forward. All right, let's go ahead with the, we'll talk about it. So,
I really, the Owls, it's a love-hate relationship with that team, I think.
Okay.
Love the players. One of their coaches just gets under my skin, and I'm going to leave it at that. But it doesn't take away from the talent pool they have on the team, and the fact that they have won games and they are competitive and they are executing. So for me, I'm just going to get right to it. I got the Owls for this game. I think they're going to be a little more talent pool, a little bit better than the Hawks, which is going to allow them to be a little more diversified when it comes to play calls and execution of things. So I think the Owls are going to pull this one off. I think Richard's going to have a hell of a game. He'll have lots of film to talk to the refs about, and hopefully we can get that all squared away. But the main bullet point here is each team has to win to make the playoffs. So I believe this is going to be the game that's going to determine who's the 4th seed at Week 10. This game right here. So you guys keep it cool, keep it professional, I know some emotions will be flying because the severity of the game, but each team has to win. But we know there will only be one. I mean, they could end in a tie, which would really really throw shit out of whack.
So it's funny you say that because I've had people ask me, and I know that. So it after the third overtime, it goes into a tie. Correct? Is what I thought from what I read in the rules. Okay. I know we haven't had one get there yet. I think the only one that was almost there was
last year we did, but this year we haven't.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah, that's because of the time slot. Like I think that's different than the official NCAA rules.
Yeah.
I have to double check that, but because of our time slots, we had to we can't have a game go 6 hours. It happened with that one Reaper. Was it the Rebels Outlaws game where they didn't start till almost 8:10 because we had overtime and an injury. Back to one game overtime, next one was an injury. So, obviously, if we just had one game start at 6, and we could go constantly. But if we have two teams that do end up with the same record like that, it goes to points allowed. That would be the tiebreaker. If they have the same record and they have the tie against each other, then it would go to points allowed.
Okay.
So, hopefully, we don't have to deal with that. I know it'll get messy, and some people's feelings will be hurt, and yada yada yada. But hopefully we'll go from there. So I got the Owls. I think that Dominic Johnston and some of those really good O players are gonna pull it out. I got 24-18.
24-18.
Yep, one
Owls.
possession game.
Okay. Kind of been bouncing this game back and forth through my head because, in one essence, I'll start with the Hawks. Like, I guess in essence you could say for a first-year team, they're right about where I kind of thought they would be. 3-4, 4-3. They're right there, and they're a game away. Like I think with some of their games, they've lost a game, here or there, and they almost beat the Silverbacks.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to the Reapers on a last-second play. They could very well be 5-2 at this point. Or depending on how some of those games shake out.
Mm-hmm.
But their Achilles heel still ends up being the offense. The offense cannot. I mean, obviously we showed the play at the beginning of the game, or excuse me, at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, but how many of those?
But
1 out of 7 games.
Yeah, but it's kind of like I was talking to to Rob, and I was talking to Rome and some of the players that I was standing on their sideline last week and kind of talking through it. And with the talent level that they have over there with some of those guys that have been in the league and played a bunch, their offense is garbage.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to flat out say it. Like, the offense is trash. Like, I don't know if it's play call. I don't know if it's guys just not executing. Like, we kind of talk about that with different teams in each show and different stuff. But from week to week to week, they don't score. They score maybe, like I said, either they don't score and the defense scores, or they break one and they score 6 points, like on the play like we showed. But the offense just doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And as I've said from day one with that, like, unless your defense is putting up points, you're sooner or later they're gonna get tired, and look at the Phantoms game.
Yep.
That's a perfect example of it. The offense, I think, maybe had 30 yards offense the entire game, and the defense was on the field the whole time. So that's the piece for me when I think about the Hawks. I don't think it's the defense. The defense always plays well.
Yeah.
They just can't, outside of the running game, they can't complete passes. They can't. It's bad. On the flip side of that, though, flip over to the Owls.
Mm-hmm.
And to stay with the Hawks, I mean, I don't know. I'm interested to see. I know there was some turmoil last week, and I'm not sure how many of those guys, if they're missing guys this week. If there'll be guys that won't be there this week if they were not on the team any further.
Well, Little Birdie told me that they have released some players, and they're getting to the point where...
Was it an Owl Birdie or was it from the Hawks Birdie?
The Hawks.
Okay.
But the point is, I said something to the Spartans coaches in year 2 that I would rather lose every game and have my integrity in a solid group of guys that have no fuckery and nothing like that. Yeah. Versus someone that just every week it's something, players fighting, arguing, getting ejected, and they're winning games.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather just have a solid team, and that's kind of where I'm at with the Hawks. Like, they're weeding out some of the BS because obviously with a first-year team, you just try to take as many people as you can get just so you can make it
your
through the
league
season.
fee paid, get players, and
But, I give a lot of credit to Bray Brooks and Old Blue for putting their foot down on some of those standards and who they are kind of thing. And it may cost them some games.
And that's the piece. I mean, you don't want to see it happen. But like you said, I'm more the type, I want to win with the guys that want to be here, that want to be a part of the system. And I don't know everything that obviously internally is going on.
Yeah.
But that's the piece for me. So I'm interested to see how they show up this week.
And I think, too, when you look at that, some of these teams, like the Lions, who just made it through their first season as a group, attracted someone like Fisher.
Yeah.
Who brought that kind of same standard, and they went to win, the championship 2 years later. So, It to me, it's a long play. You're using the short-term discomfort and losses to build the foundation to make sure you have the long-term team.
True.
So.
Very true.
I know it doesn't win them a game now, but I think if we continue to see them,
longevity-wise, yeah,
they'll be around for a while. I think they're going to get more and more players. They're going to buy into that system.
Could see that. As long as they fix their helmets, I think they'll be all right, too.
Well, there's some new uniform rules coming out after the season,
and
unfortunately that team will not, that helmet concept won't fall underneath it. So, but anyway, back to the win. So go ahead.
All right. So, as long as they, I still don't like your helmets, Blue and Rome. So I just like to make that known. Every time we talk about you, I'm going to tell you how I don't like your helmets. Moving forward, though, the Owls are another team that, they, from week to week, they're kind of inconsistent.
Yep.
You don't really know. I believe, if I saw correctly, I want to say their quarterback's now Akil.
I think so.
I believe he's back now. I believe I saw him playing last week.
Mm-hmm.
So they're an inconsistent team for me as well, though. I don't know what I'm going to get from them from week to week.
They feed off the coaching staff. So I feel like the games I've went to and the coaching staff's having issues, and they're, whatever's going on, they're struggling. When the coaches are in good moods and things are going their way, the team's functioning fine.
Like an adversity type of thing, or you mean just in terms of there's other things that are included in that as well?
Other things included. But, I think they feed off that energy, good, bad, no matter which way it goes. Like, the team is a direct reflection of your ownership. And that's across the board. I didn't just the Owls. That's other teams,
No, that's in general, I think, yeah.
But I have noticed that the games where they're executing, the coaching staff is calmer. They're laughing.
More in sync,
they're
having
more
a
in
good
sync.
time.
Yeah,
Okay.
when they're kind of discombobulated, the team, starts struggling and,
You always say the old saying is it starts at the top. The players are going to do, if the coaching staff or, owner or whatever it might be that week is potentially out of sorts, because you never know what's going on that week from week to week.
Yeah.
It can follow suit,
Or,
but I don't know what to expect.
Or if one of your coaches are running amok on social media, that stuff directly reflects players, man. And
well, you in essence write a check sometimes that your players can't cash.
And so my caution to that is if the Owls coaching staff come, focused and dialed in tomorrow, that the Hawks are going to have a
tough time.
It's going to have a tough game. And that's why I'm putting my money on the Owls, because I know they have to win.
I don't know. I mean, from what I heard, a little birdie told me.
You got birds now too. Okay.
Well, technically, we're talking about two bird teams. But I happened to be, on Red Zone. I had a little bit of free time this week and was on Red Zone. And I think, I want to say that, don't the Hawks have a top 10 defense, I think? You want to pull? Yeah,
the Owls.
No, not the Hawks, the Owls. Excuse me. The Owls have a top 10 defense, right? They're one of the better defenses in the league based upon, you want to pull that real quick? I just want to take a look. Because I think I remember seeing something about that, and I was a little bit baffled as to where we were looking at points against where they were at. I want to say they are.
I think they
I want to
came
say
in
11.
11th.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm just asking. Okay. I'm just. The Hawks, that defense. Giving up 97 points. Being a top 11 defense.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding. Okay. Totally kidding. Gotta troll a little bit, Hate to say it, but
you gotta give that disclaimer because some guys can't handle it.
Yeah, I hate to say it. Yeah, they, I hate to say it, but you let clowns get on there from this, and get on there and run amok sometimes. They hate to say it, people could say what they're going to say. So,
Yep.
needless to say, I guess a top 11 defense, though, is a pretty good defense. So, we'll see. With that being said, though.
So 11th out of 17.
Well, you have 11 out of 17 versus 10 out of 17. So it's, it's a battle of top 11 defenses. So that should be pretty good.
Okay.
We'll see. But with that being said, I hate to say it, and I think I kind of talked to some of the Owl guys about this before. I cannot pick the Owls just because of a clown on there that likes to get on there and run amok. So I'm taking the Hawks in this game.
Okay.
They don't have a clown over there. I'm going to keep saying it again. Clown, clown, clown. Taking the Hawks this game. I think the offense figures it out a little bit and scores on the 11th ranked defense a couple of times. We're going with a 20-12 Hawks.
Okay. Cool.
Wait, top 7? Top 7. Never mind. I'm not even going to go into it. They might have been top 7 in the Choya Conference.
Ooh, that's not good. If you're in top 7 in the Choya, when you consider there's only 9 teams.
But no, in all seriousness, fellas, I hope this is a good game. I know it'll be my 7 o'clock game tomorrow. Looking forward to a good game. I just get annoyed sometimes with the social media nonsense.
Yep. Yeah.
And people that, I hate to say it, but anybody can really get on anywhere and kind of, just run their mouth and talk a little bit. Same thing like us on the show. I can get on here and
I was just going to say, we
say
can
whatever
say what
I
we
want
to
to
say on the show. And it's my show.
Yeah, I'll get to the field tomorrow, and I'm sure people will have something to say. Somebody will throw some tape at me as I'm,
So when the Rebels scored, speaking of that, when the Rebels scored, I think it was their last touchdown in that game, they didn't know where I was. So they all started screaming at the stands, "Where's Matt? Where's your pick now, Matt?" So, hey.
I might actually wear a red nose tomorrow. I might go find. I'm gonna wear my clown mask tomorrow because we're gonna need to. And I might actually wear my clown mask tomorrow and wear it.
All right, we're getting sidetracked. Enough with the clowns.
All right,
are we moving on to the next game?
So Hawks over the Owls tomorrow.
All right, cool. All right, next matchup. So the Silverbacks Headhunters. Guys, this is another game change. Apparently, the school that Prescott High decided they were going to have their prom on the football field tomorrow night. So,
you don't want to. It makes sense.
Hey, you know what? That's the great part about using these high schools, man. We just get kicked to the curb if they have something they want to do.
Right.
So, before we get into that, disclaimer or update: the game time and location has changed. 2 p.m. at Mile High Middle School. It's in Prescott. I think it's just a couple blocks from the high school, but they moved them over to 2 p.m. So those guys that are traveling, bring the water. I don't know the situation there. It's just kind of a last-minute thing. They were going to have their prom somewhere, and they got moved. Instead of canceling prom, they decided to do it on the football field, which, hey, that's their prerogative because they own it. So, I do think though having a 2 o'clock game is going to help the Headhunters. I think it's the middle of the day, so guys can leave around 10 o'clock. 9:30, 10. No rush, no huge hurry to get up there. Play the game, be done at 5, go to dinner, and come home. Instead of playing at 5, getting done at 7:38, then have to drive all the way back to Phoenix, you know what I mean? So I think, as we talked about the Headhunters playing the Reapers, we'll get into that. Oh, I skipped a line. Go ahead, Bush, I need a drink.
So what are we...
So
I'm not sure where you were going with that.
Yeah,
so
I went right into my thoughts instead of talking about.
Sorry, I know where we're going. Oh, sorry. So Headhunters coming off a rim over the Reapers last week. They put them at 4-3 overall. Number 2 seed, 4-1 in the conference versus the number 1 Silverbacks. With a win over the Scorpions last week, put them at 7-0, 6-0 in the conference.
Yep. So this is a good game. This will be a good matchup.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
I'm kind of upset I can't make it. I could make it to Prescott, but I couldn't get back in time for what I need to do here at the night game. So I'm hoping the huddle. We did talk to Silverbacks about the huddle 2 weeks ago, so hopefully the huddle will be a little bit more in line with what we've been working on this week. So, but I think if the Silverbacks win this week, I see them going undefeated into the quarters.
Okay.
Like they're going to win that. I think they're going to win their Chihuahua Conference playoff to go right into number 7. that's if the Bucs don't give them a headache in the last week.
Okay.
So the Bucs travel to Prescott, hopefully, to go play up there. That's the only team I think in the next 3 weeks that's going to give them a headache. So, but the more I think about it, the Headhunters they're warming up. They're getting some steam. They're, like you said, they're scrappy. They're not just someone's going to lay down. So, but I still think that the Silverbacks are just a little more in tune. I think they got a couple more coaches than the Headhunters have on the sideline. So I got Silverbacks, but it'll be a close game. I got 12-6 on this one.
12-6 Silverbacks over the Headhunters.
Yep.
I agree. I think the Silverbacks have been, rolling. Obviously, they played the Scorpions last week. That was a, pretty easy game for them. But they've been rolling consistently, even in games where they have a closer game. They look pretty good throughout, and then they find a way to win.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what. It's really what it comes down to. I think the Headhunters are peaking though. The Headhunters have been playing some pretty good football. After playing the Lions, played a good game against the Lions. 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they've been winning. Ever since. So they've been playing well. Interested to see how they travel up there.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't know if I think that the 2:00 game helps them in that manner. I know it's only a 2-hour trip. To Prescott High School, it's 2 hours. I'm not sure how far it is, in terms of.
I think the junior high is their middle school is only a couple blocks.
Oh,
away.
okay.
I think it's all kind of a cluster.
But I think that, to me, I like you said that you would rather get up there and go. I'm the other way around. I don't really like to feel rushed. I don't like to wake up super early in the morning. Like if I have a game like that, I'd rather get up, get around when I want to, and kind of grab a bite to eat, and do it the opposite way. But I think that I think that might potentially hurt them. I hope that they have everything. I hope they show up. Obviously, they travel well. Because kind of with that team, they're already a little bit shorthanded, in essence. So missing a few guys could potentially hurt. With that being said, though, you think about the travel. Anytime you got to travel, it could be the same way down here as well. But you think about going into some of those places like Tucson or Prescott or things like that. Games could be, delayed because of different things for travel.
Yeah.
They're not delayed, but, but I think the Silverbacks get this win. I actually think the Silverbacks go, they play that last week. We'll kind of get there, but I think the Silverbacks, I don't know if they finish out undefeated. I think maybe they go 9-1. I think maybe that last week against the Bucs, but we'll kind of see as that kind of goes. But I think the Silverbacks win this week. I'm going to go with 18-14 Silverbacks. I think it's a close game, but I think the Silverbacks, again, find a way to win. I think that I think the Headhunters are going to be up, and I think the Silverbacks come back and win the game, find a way to win. So, taking the Silverbacks.
Cool. Silverbacks for the win. All right. Let's take a quick break. Those of you guys that joined us late, just wanted to give a shout-out to our sponsor, Aunt Shell's Retro Bakery. She will be at the games at Cortez this weekend, 4 and 7 o'clock. She's got all sorts of homemade cakes and cookies, and I think she had maybe muffins last week. But yeah, I could go on and on and on. I gotta get her a commercial made so we can make sure everybody's getting all the same info every time we talk about her. But she'll be there. She'll be by the concession stand. My advice to you guys is to hopefully get there at 4 o'clock and get some, because I do not know if week to week it's picking up speed. She's selling out earlier and earlier, so get it while you can. So moving on.
Still would like somebody to bring that over to
oh my God, we will get
to
it
Sunny
over
Slope.
there.
I know, I'm just saying.
All right.
You said Raph would bring some, and Raph
if you don't eat it on the way.
well, that's what he said. Raph said he would eat it on the way.
I'll let you lick it off his face.
Raph mentioned there was another sponsor that he wanted you to mention.
Oh yeah, I'm an a-hole. So Band of Brothers, that is a nonprofit organization that Raph is affiliated with a couple of those guys. And we'll get some more information on them. But my understanding is that they are, it's a group of guys that do charity donations. So they pick a charity for the year, and they fundraise and do all of that, and then they donate. to that fundraiser, and it's in honor of Raph's late brother that passed away a couple years ago. That's actually, not to get too into the weeds and into Raph's private life, but that's how me and Raph met. He was playing football in honor of his brother that was supposed to come play football with him here, and the tragedy happened, and Raph, being the man that he is, and I get a little emotional talking about it, but he's really my brother now too. So,
right.
A lot of stuff that Raph does behind the scenes is in honor of his brother, and a lot of people don't know that, and that's one of the things I love about the guy. So, yep. This group was created in honor of his brother, and I'm waiting for the details and some other stuff like that. So sorry, Raph, I didn't overlook it. I just was hoping to get a little more stuff on it, but I give some people some overview. We'll get some email stuff on there. I think we're going to try to work some things with them moving into next season. I think this just got founded within the last, I want to say last 6 months to a year maybe. So they're still working on some of their internal details, but I know they're going to pick a charity, a couple a year, do the fundraisers, and donate the money. So,
yes, sir.
And so I'm excited to see what happens with that, and I'll definitely, as more information comes, but we'll get them on here for sure.
Yes, sir.
Cool. All right, 2 more games left. Next one, the Bucks versus the Lions. So the Bucks sitting in last place in the conference, even with the win against the Outlaws, puts them at 2-5.
Yep, 2-5.
I have 2-5 written on my paper.
I see that as well.
Is the thing really wrong?
Yeah, definitely said 2-6. I know I've been drinking a little bit, but it definitely says 2.
No, it does. It says 2-5.
Well, the other one I think says 2-6.
I don't know how it says 2-6. It's the same graphic.
I don't know. It looks like 2-6.
Let's look here. Nope, 2-5.
That says 1-5. Doesn't that say 2-6?
No.
All right. Well,
you guys listening and watching just about got Dwight fired. Or Raph, whoever it was. Anyways, back to the real thing here.
Looks like some of the uniforms, the numbers on some of those uniforms.
Stop.
All right, sorry.
Just throwing the shade out there. So, all right.
Oh, well.
Back to the fun stuff.
All right, carry on.
All right, so Bucks coming off the win against the Outlaws puts them at 2-5 with the conference 1-5. Versus the number 4 Lions, ironically went from 2nd to 4th after the loss this weekend to the Rebels. Puts them at 5-2 with a conference of 3-2. Now I know some people like to talk, mess about the Lions and how they're going to implode and et cetera, but I don't know. I think they pull it together. I think they finish this season, the regular season, strong. Get into playoffs. We'll talk about playoff predictions when we get there. But I truly think that was a tough game for both sides.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
they both battled it out. It was good coaching, not coaching, bad calls, good calls, missed opportunities, clinched opportunities. So it went back and forth. But the Lions let me down. I had them winning. They didn't win. I'm not picking them again. So, but I think for this particular game, it's a home game for them, so they'll be at their home field at 7 o'clock at Yonker.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Go ahead, man. So, yeah, the Bucks just need to have fun this game.
Yeah.
I think they just need to do what they did last week and just figure it out, I think with the win, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to I'll let you comment. Go ahead. My phone's over here blowing up, so I'm trying to multitask at the same time.
I was expecting you to say more, so I was kind of gathering.
I will.
Some thoughts.
I'm just getting my thoughts together.
With this one, I think that that Lions Rebels game be interesting to see. Obviously them coming off that loss last week. I think they come in and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see what happens with the team because, like you mentioned, potentially, some internal stuff, different things that I saw in Red Zone, different players and just different stuff. I mean, I don't know. I'm interested to see how that comes together. I know I won't get a chance to watch that game, obviously being over at Sunny Slope, but I look forward to watching it on film to kind of see what takes place there. But what's interesting to me with that game is, like you said, the Bucks need to just show up and have fun. They showed up. They didn't have a ton of guys last week. I'm interested to see if that was just guys were missing just because, or if the guys were.
I think it's missing because it was a 10 a.m. game.
Well, I'm wondering if it's because it was a 10 a.m. game, or if it was guys are just done with the season at this point. I was kind of talking to some of the leaders on that team, and like they were saying, at the end of the day, if you're not here with us when we're going to battle, unless you have a good reason. Same thing about like kind of coming to practice, right? Same type of thought process there, right? Like unless you have a good reason. But if you're just not here just because we're not doing well right now,
yeah, I
don't want you back. Like we can be boys off the field.
Amen to that.
But when it comes to if you're not there with me, I guess in the trenches, at that point, like I don't want you there. So I'm interested to see if they have more guys this week, because that was one of the things I think with a team. No slight to the Outlaws, right? But I think with a team like the Lions, they, they're gonna be thirsty this week, trying to prove last week was in essence not a fluke, but in essence they're better than what they
than what we saw
did last week.
I think if the Bucks win this game, I think the Lions slowly see their playoffs slipping away.
Well, yeah, because they could drop to what? They drop to 5-3, depending on how some of those other games. Like where could they fall?
I don't want to concrete it, but I think the worst they finish if they start struggling here in the next couple of weeks is 6th place, just because but then again, if they lose to the Bucks, they think they still have the roll tide to play. That you never know. But yeah, if I think if they lose this weekend, we're going to see a lot more of that social media stuff going on, and it's sad because I know that's not how Ben's built that team. And I think the Lions they're coming off a hard loss this week, like you said, and I think they're ready to bring it back for sure.
Who you got?
I know I said I never go with the Lions, but I'm going with the Lions. Home field advantage, fully stacked.
I never go with it.
No, but I mean when you really break it down to putting the teams against each other, they lost. I think Kenneth Mitchell, he resigned from the team. I think Cody Page is out 2 weeks for unsportsmanlike conducts that the league issued a ruling on. So, and I know they have a lot of other players, but those are some key guys. Ben and some of those guys can only do so much, right? You need to have those alternates coming in and out to give each of you a break. So
you said Kenny's no longer on the team?
Nope, he quit the team.
Okay.
So, and I don't want to get into.
No. I don't want to go into detail. I'm just okay.
They lost one of the key players too. Is it for the better? I mean, I don't know. That's to be debated depending on who you talk to. But I do know he's always done good things when he's on the field. So, that's where I'm at. So I got the Lions. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I think the Bucs defense is going to do what it's always done. It's going to be the offense that struggles. Because if anybody ever listens to me, I always give everybody that same speech that Rico can't throw in man. And they have a pretty good defense.
Okay.
The Lions do. So I think if they stick to it, Jake Reed will have a good game. Some of those other guys. So, yeah, Lions. I got them 24-12.
Yeah, I don't like that Raph just said what I was going to say. I was going to use that for talking about it, but kind of to think about to think about the Bucs. The Bucs were playing really shorthanded. They had guys playing. Carl played running back at one point. Carl Evans played running back. Made some nice plays out of the backfield. Passing game wise. The receivers finally got stuff going a little bit. On the defensive side, you had guys playing defense that normally wouldn't play defense. I mean, you had, Raph took it from me, but you had any of you guys that are Madden guys, you had the OOP, so the out of position player, the new 99 overall Rico Mcneil, playing defensive end and causing havoc.
Yeah.
You could tell at some points he would get tired, right? Like obviously he's playing quarterback, he's playing DN, out there making a ton of plays, but you could see sometimes he got tired. But plays where he probably had, no joke, I'd say probably 5 or 6 tackles for loss, and it might have been more than that. But like he was back there making a ton of different plays, getting pressure on the quarterback, stopping in the run game, and I mean the rest of the defense is following suit. I mean they play. I think D Will gave me a hard time when he saw me when he pulled up this morning and said, You said that he said, I don't have a problem with you picking the Outlaws to win, but he said, we haven't given up more than 12 points in a game on defense. And, it was one of those, he's like, you have them scoring, I want to say I said like 26 or 28 points or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm not upset that you picked them to win, but he was like, we've been in every game that we've played.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong.
They'll be in this one too, but they ain't going to win.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if Rico's playing defensive end again, and he gets out there and, the defense steps up and doesn't give up points, they'll be in the game. Yeah. I think that the Lions win this game, though, but I think that it's a close game. I think I'm going with – I'm going to say 12 to 8.
Okay.
12 to 8 Lions. But I think with that being said, though, the Bucs defense, if they play like they played last week, they are going to give the Lions some trouble. Yeah. And I think that they actually have regardless of a 2-5 record, that kind of talks about what we were talking about earlier. I don't think the 2-5 record is what that team is about and what that team, I think they didn't gel at the beginning of the season. I think they're starting to kind of gel. The problem is I think it might be too late to make a full run, but they can be a little too late. But they can potentially put a damper on somebody's playoff hopes. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going with 12 to 8 Lions.
Okay. Awesome. So we both got the Lions. Good luck, guys.
We'll see. I think that's going to be a really good game, though.
I think
that could potentially this could be one that, depending on if this was a different, let's just say these teams are, the Bucs are, 5-2 potentially. This could potentially have been a game of the week type of scenario. So,
cool. Speaking of game of the week,
yep.
Let's roll into it. All right. The long anticipated. I've been waiting for this game all season, just because I had such high hopes for the Phantoms and the Spartans too. I ain't gonna lie. I was excited when Daniel was, starting the season. Get to watch him play. He wins off,
right.
Goes off to college or to Arena, and then Trey comes from the Phantoms over to the Spartans to play. I'm like, oh, that's great, good quarterback. And then old Fisher comes in with AD and the Phantoms. So this seasons aren't happening the way these two teams had hoped they would. So
at all.
That's why I'm excited to see this game, because it's really going to be a testament of which team can pull it together. I think they're both on their fourth-string quarterbacks. There's some people out this week on both sides. So we'll get right into it. So the Spartans are sitting in 6th place currently with the loss to the Thunder. Puts them at 4-3 at the conference at 2-3. Versus the number 2 Phantoms with the win over the Roll Tide. Now they're at 5-2, conference 4-2. So these guys could potentially switch seat positions based on, if one loses and one wins.
Well, yeah, based upon this game, I mean, you figure if
they both end up in 4-3.
If the Spartans win, they're 5-3. The Phantoms go to 5-3.
Yep.
And the Spartans would own the head-to-head over that.
Yep. So the thing with those is watching the Spartans, play last week with the Thunder for a few minutes while I was stopping by the field. Man, they got to figure out this quarterback situation. I have no idea what's going on over there, but they're on their 4th-string quarterback. And if they don't figure this shit out, and I know Aaron's watching, and the Spartans, hopefully 20 is, you guys got to figure it out. And it's almost redundant because it's the same message to the Phantoms. You guys got to figure it out too. It's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be almost the Bucs Spartans game of the week again, and the Outlaws Lions. It's going to be a very evenly matched teams battling it out. And I think it's going to come down to a missed mistake, overthrown ball or something like that to get them, there. So, but yeah, your thoughts?
I wish that we were seeing both of these teams at potentially full strength. With kind of what I thought I would see at the beginning of the season. I don't really know what to say. You know, you start with the Spartans. You know, you're on your fourth string quarterback, as you said. You know, obviously Daniel, Trey. Don't know what the heck's going on with Trey, if he'll be back. I don't know. Ain't no telling. So I'm just assuming that he won't be, you know. So I'm not even, you know, if he ends up showing up, that's great.
I know he wasn't at the game on Saturday.
I know he wasn't there yet.
But he may have been working. I don't know.
Well, needless to say, I'm assuming that he's not playing.
Yeah, that's my
That's the only thing I can assume, that he's not playing. You know, Katie at quarterback. You know, we'll see. And then obviously Hutch at quarterback. I mean, Hutch hasn't been starting, but you know, you figure Hutch has been coming in.
Katie at quarterback against the Phantoms, that's trouble.
It is. I
almost would put Billy back there.
What I'm interested
I
to
would
see,
just run the Wildcat offense if KD's the only option. And it's no disrespect to him. He's had some okay games but he's just not ready for a Phantoms defense.
Well, what's interesting, though, is I think about, you know, the talent level that's over there with the Spartans. I mean, you figure the talent level we talked about, I say it every week, the receiving core they have over there, you know, is arguably one of the best in the league.
Yep.
You know, everybody can talk about it, and, you know, everybody has their different things to say. But what I'm interested to see is, I'm wondering, you know, I said I'm assuming Trey doesn't play, but I wonder if Trey potentially plays just because it's his old team. Like, that to me is what comes in the back of my head. It's, hey, you're coming over from that team.
Does anybody know if he went to practice this week?
I mean, that I don't.
I don't know if they'll air that out.
I don't know if they will or won't. But I think about, and Isaac mentioned it, but that's what made me think about that. I see the comment just pop up. But that makes me wonder if potentially, because it's your old team, do you come to play?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'm assuming he doesn't. But like I said, I just, that would be in the back of my head. Like, let me.
I don't know. If it was me, you didn't come to practice and you showed up just to play against your old team, you're gonna be riding pine for a little while.
I mean, you're not wrong there either. But so with that being said, though, you know, it's the Spartans' offense hasn't looked great, kind of like what we're used to seeing potentially in the past. You're used to seeing that air raid offense, puts up a lot of points. The defense stops people. The defense sometimes gives up some points, but you're used to seeing them put up points.
Well,
complete different. Now you're looking at a different side of that, though. The defense isn't really giving up points. I mean, I know that was part of the talk on Red Zone. I want to say they were, I don't remember where they were at on there. But the defense isn't giving up a ton of points. It's the offense can't score, kind of like we talked about with the Hawks. Like, you know, the Spartans haven't done a ton on offense. You know, they're 4-3, but
they better figure it out this week because I think
going against a hell of a defense.
Yeah, that, and you're sitting in 6th place right now. Like, you know, if you lose out and the other teams below you win a few of their games, it's going to come down to that head-to-head if you have the same record. If you don't have the same record, then it doesn't matter who you beat, you lost, like you're out.
Well, I think that loss to the Thunder is huge last week because I think that's kind of where, depending on how things shake out, you know, you could see the Thunder or the Spartans in the 5 or the 6 seed, potentially, obviously, seeing how some of these shake out.
Yep.
The Thunder own the tiebreaker over the Spartans.
Yep.
If the Spartans lose this week, they go to 4-4. You know, and depending on what happens with the Tide, they could go to 4-4. The Phantoms would move to 6-2, setting themselves up pretty well to lock in a playoff spot. And they would also, if the Phantoms beat the Phantoms beat the Spartans, they would have the head-to-head per se if they happen to both finish at 6-4.
Yeah. Yeah.
You start looking at some of those scenarios that kind of play out. With that being said, though, my Achilles heel still, and I said it last week, though, and I've said it the week before and the week before, is not the Spartans' front 7. It's the DBs.
Yep.
The DBs and the safeties. So I'm interested.
Well, this week's going to be a bit of a challenge because I talked to a birdie, told me that Christian Upshaw's out hurt this week.
Christian's out hurt, okay.
53. And I think Big Shaq, number 91 or 99, I think he's
91,
out this week
91.
too. That's a huge loss to that. Like, that's going to be crazy to see how they handle AD and Sparks coming out of the backfield. Because, you know. But I know they got some backup guys in there, so hopefully they'll work, you know. But
yeah, those guys don't play DB, though.
DBs don't matter. We don't have a quarterback. Who's throwing the ball from the Phantoms?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like, though, with those guys being out, that helps the run game.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that helps the run game.
I'm more worried about their front seven than their, I could see them putting that number 39.
Smothers.
Yeah, Smothers. I could see him putting him in a Chandler Jones type defense. Like he's technically rushing the quarterback every single time, but he is truly a linebacker because he's big enough to take on AD and Sparks. Reggie's the only one on that defense I think can really manhandle those guys. I don't see Ryan or Jake Lee really. Rowe, he's just slow. Rowe can handle him if he can get in front of him, but I think they should move some of those faster linebackers up to the line and just blitz, or not blitz, but just speed rush them.
Well, it's been. I mean, I think
push them
about
into the middle.
Like I know we talk a lot about AD, we talk a lot about Sparks, but they've had another running back that actually has played well for them with the Phantoms.
Okay.
Number 9 has actually been toting the rock pretty well,
Okay.
getting some good.
Well, I'll find out on Saturday.
Getting some good stuff as well. And I know somebody just mentioned him here too. But needless to say, like they've been trying to get it together too. They're in the same boat. That offense hasn't lived up to kind of what we.
Yeah.
The Phantoms are always more of a defensive team than they are an offensive team, but they obviously with Mike Mack and so a lot of those guys on the defense.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see. Okay, so Greg, I apologize that I didn't know the name. So I know the number though. But Greg is the other running back. So they have a trio of running backs there. But it kind of comes down to that quarterback.
Yeah, score some points. Who are you going with?
I'm taking the Phantoms in this game. I'm not sold on the Spartans in terms of.
You know who I'm repping, baby.
I mean, yeah, you got your Phantom shirt on there.
Hey, speaking of which, I told the owners this week, give me your shirts. You players out there bitching I'm on by me wearing team shirts, get me a shirt, I'll wear it. So, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. So the Phantoms.
No, you're good. Yeah, I'm taking the Phantoms. I think that the Phantoms. I think the defense plays well. I don't think that the Spartans offense really does a whole lot. Kind of like I've been seeing. I don't think
hefty.
We'll see. I mean, like I said, I'm taking the. They said Marco's playing QB for the Spartans tomorrow. There was a late transfer that came in.
Oh shit.
But no. Could you imagine? But no. Yeah, I think the Phantoms get the job done. I think that the defense plays really well tomorrow. I still don't think that they, Aaron is one of the, the better offensive coordinators in the league. Yeah. Right along with Fisher though. Fisher obviously is that's going to be a hell of a.
Can only call in the right plays. The players have to execute them. So I hope Aaron holds up to the reputation that I put in front of him, being a chess master, and I'm praying that Fisher, does the same thing, comes with his strategy and he executes it, and it's gonna be fun to watch those guys, try to outsmart each other.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a hell of a game. I'm obviously gonna be over at Sunny Slope watching the.
But you watch it live.
The Hawks Owls, but yeah, I'm gonna check that. Well, if I can get the internet over there by the mountain doesn't always want to work.
Oh, okay.
So T-Mobile every once in a while doesn't want to work. But needless to say, yeah, I'm taking the Phantoms. I think the defense actually, the defense plays really well against them. I'm going with 18-6 Phantoms.
Okay. Well, I'm going with the Phantoms for sure. However, I'm just going to throw the disrespect out right now. I'm going 24-3.
Do the Spartans have a kicker?
They do.
They do have a kicker. You're right. Yes, they do.
It's probably the only best offensive player they got. But no, in all seriousness, without the quarterback situation, like without knowing what that looks like, I a lot of 3 and outs. I think they get close. I think they can get close enough to get Chris's leg involved. I've seen him kick it from 40 yards out. So. But yeah, so we both got the Phantoms.
24-3 though. That's. I mean, I would think at that point. I mean, that the offense doesn't do much. So yeah, all right. I guess that's not.
It's not for the disrespect. It's not to take away the talent.
Well, no. Yeah.
They're on their 4th-string quarterback that doesn't have an arm. If we're talking about KD. I don't know what Hutch is looking like. I don't know where he fits into this weekend, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be interesting. I mean, you bring that up. We'll see, what happens. Katie, Hutch. I mean, maybe they have somebody else that's been, because to me, I'd like to see Hutch get more in the backfield. I mean, like I said, I know he can play quarterback, but I'd like to see him get back to, running the ball.
Yeah.
Not having to be in the wildcat formation and throw the ball. Let him just, run the ball. And kind of go from there. But I just think that. I think it's going to be a good game. I hope it's going to be a good game. I think that both those teams, I mean, playoff seeding wise, it's huge. We'll continue to say that each game, each week.
Oh yeah, every week it's going to get bigger and bigger. Implications are going to be big.
What's going to be crazy to me though is you figure if you figure how it'll sit now. You have the Rebels at 1. If the Phantoms win, they're at 6-2. Spartans go down to 4-4. They could, but have they played the Roll Tide? I don't think the Spartans have played the Roll Tide.
Is that their next?
I think that's. I want to say that was week 9, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, next week.
Okay, so that one, that could be. I mean, that's another one. We talk about all the different, games and different things that they play. But
finish out with the Outlaws.
Yeah, so the Spartans are not a lock to make the playoffs at this point.
Nope.
Like this is a game that they have to.
To me, they have to win at least 2 of the next 3.
I agree.
If they win 1, they're in there. If they lose all 3, they're out. But
we'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, but this is just one of those.
I'm still looking forward to the real playoff predictions.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be. I mean,
because at that time we only have 4 games, and then we'll have 2 games, 4 games, 2 games, and then the ship.
Yeah, it's gonna.
So
it's
we'll
gonna
be able
start.
to spend a lot of time breaking down the games. I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna start getting. It's gonna start getting really, really crazy. I mean, it's. You think about how some of this could shake down. Teams that we thought were gonna make it or didn't think were gonna make it or whatever the case might be. It's gonna be an interesting. I can't wait to see how it plays out. So we'll see what happens this weekend, though. I mean, obviously we got a good slate of games tomorrow.
Yep.
And we'll kind of go from there.
Cool. Any closing comments that we need to address, like we always do? You have just a couple more minutes left.
Fellas, y'all got anything that y'all want us to go over or talk through? I've kind of been seeing it there. Talking about the picks, some of the picks they think are crazy.
Yeah.
But no, they're just. I mean, they not like in a bad way, but it's just more. Obviously, one team, whoever's watching, depending on who's watching, it'll be like, I can't believe you didn't pick us, or can't believe you picked that team. So it's been good. And then Fisher's on here talking about
my man Fish.
He's on here. Well, no, he's talking about and Fish. Just to clarify, I said I have T-Mobile, not Boost Mobile. Okay. So I would just like to point that out. But no, I mean, I don't know, fellas. If y'all got anything, we could stay on here for just a second and see if there's anything y'all want to go over.
I guess some announcements that we'll make. We'll keep pushing these week to week, but all the playoffs will be at Yonker. Official playoffs, the 4 quarter semis and the championship. We will have the Chiloya playoff at Cortez at 7 p.m. I'm predicting that the Silverbacks, if they can pull off 2 more wins, they'll probably go in at top seed. So we're planning on having their game in Prescott. So those of you guys that are battling for 4th place, if Prescott does become the 1st seed in the Chiloa Conference, you'll be traveling to Prescott. So please put that on your tentative schedule. And then we'll have the 2-3 matchup here, live game of the week at Cortez, and then we'll go into that.
Go ahead.
We're also bouncing around. We talked about it yesterday about live streaming all of the playoffs. Hopefully we can get the resources, but
yeah, we'll see how that goes. For those of you that are up in Prescott, if that ends up happening, I plan on making a trip up there for the league to kind of oversee that game. So I'd appreciate it if y'all get ready to show me something good up there for a restaurant or something to eat. So I appreciate that.
You like Indian food?
Depends.
No,
I mean, it depends on.
Well, it was there a few years ago. I don't know after COVID if it's still there, but in Prescott on Whiskey Row, there's an Indian restaurant kind of tucked back in the corner, across from the Capitol or the City Hall, courthouse thing there. It's pretty good.
I'll have to check that out.
They got a good barbecue place up there too.
Okay, I'll definitely have to check that out. Somebody asked who we picked in the Hawks versus the Owls game. We took one of the bird teams.
One of the bird teams.
One of the bird teams is going to get a victory. So. Yep. No, I think Matt took the Owls, and I think I took the Hawks.
Yep. Tune in sooner. Got to tune in on time.
Yeah, need you to tune in.
You can go back and watch the whole show though.
Show starts at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
More than happy to plug you with the show there. Zach Galaviz actually mentioned, and it's true. So I know it's something that we talked about, but he said, if not for COVID, how much better would the Thunder and Demons be if they had home games this year? So I mean, you think about the Thunder, and I'll just kind of. I definitely wasn't drunk. Okay, I've only been drinking since 1 o'clock, so I'm really picked against the Owls because of a clown. But no. So yeah, man, I'll let you go ahead with that.
Whoa, sorry guys. I don't think the Demons that maybe one more win than they currently have. I think the Thunder are right where they were. There's teams go down there and beat them, and there's teams go down there and lose. So,
well, it's always interesting with those games because we talk about. And to Zach's point, I mean, that's a thing where I think about the travel, right? We talk about the travel for those teams coming up here each week. I hate to say it, but a lot of the teams that are down here don't travel well when they have to go to places. You know, you see it when you go up to Prescott or, down to Tucson. They don't travel as well. You know, unless you're a team.
Silverback's the only team that actually I've seen travel besides the Outlaws, because I was going to say besides John and the Rebels, because Ed gets them a bus when they travel the 1 year. But I mean, it is what it is.
But it's interesting to think. I mean, like I said, I think the Thunder potentially are still right around where they're at. I mean, like I said, they always have travel. I don't think that it affects the not from a players traveling perspective. I just don't know if they maybe have one more win. Kind of like Matt said, I don't know how much, but I also think that there's players too that potentially, even from teams down here, have opted out of playing as well.
Yep.
You know, and I don't know whether it was COVID for some of the or the Demon guys just don't want to travel each week or whatever, but I don't know. I mean, it definitely COVID definitely did throw something in there, in terms of a wrench. I'm still interested to see, I always kind of wish we could have saw how last season would have ended. I think that it would have been a solid season. I think that, we would, I don't know who would have won the championship, obviously, but
somebody would have.
I was just about to say, people can't travel 2 hours because it's not they don't have a car, it's gas prices. I just filled my Challenger up and spent almost $60. I was not happy. So for those of y'all that drive trucks and different stuff like that, whatever, yeah, that's listen, I was not happy. That thing kept going, and I was just like, yeah, all right, do the violin. Listen. But, fellas, y'all got anything else before we get out of here? We're going to finish the rest of this bottle off, and
all right.
Anything else? Nothing?
No. Good night,
all right,
guys.
y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow.